I've been thinking about a question lately, and honestly, it's totally uncomfortable. Would I still do the right thing if nobody ever knew that I did it? Would I still give if nobody knew that I gave? Would I still serve if nobody thanked me? Would I still work with excellence if nobody noticed? Would I still follow God faithfully if none of it ever made me look impressive? Because I've realized that there's something in me that likes being seen. I think there's something in the most of us that likes being seen. We want people to know when we're doing something good. We want our effort recognized. We want someone to notice the sacrifice. And that's not always evil. Encouragement matters. Being appreciated definitely feels good. There's nothing wrong with thanking someone for what they've done, but there's a difference between appreciating recognition and needing recognition in order to keep going. And I think Jesus understood that difference better than anyone else. He talked about people who gave publicly so others would see him, people who prayed so that others would think that they were spiritual, people who fasted and made sure that everybody knew that they were fasting. And Jesus kept returning to this idea: your Father sees what's done in secret. And I've been thinking about that because we live in a world where almost nothing has to remain a secret anymore. You can help someone and post it. You can give and post it. You can work out and post it. You can pray and post it. You can spend time with your family and somehow still turn the moment into content for strangers. And I'm creating videos on the internet. So I'm not standing outside of this pointing fingers. I'm asking the questions about myself too. Why am I doing this? If nobody watched, would the thing still be worth doing? That's a question that I think anyone who creates publicly has to keep asking, because attention can quietly become addictive. At first, maybe you're sharing something because you genuinely believe it could help somebody. Then people respond. Views come in, comments come in, numbers start moving, and without realizing it, something changes. Now you're checking. How many watched? How many liked it? Did this one perform better than the last one? Why didn't this one get any attention? And suddenly, something that began as service can slowly begin to be a search for validation. That's dangerous. Not because attention is automatically bad. Attention can amplify something good. Influence can help people. We've talked about that. But influence is a terrible place to look for identity because the crowd is inconsistent. The people who applaud today may disappear tomorrow. Algorithms change, platforms change, people move on. And if my sense of worth falls on how much attention I'm receiving, then I've handed strangers control over something that they never, ever should be supposed to own. Jesus seemed remarkably free from that. There were moments when crowds followed him everywhere, and there were also moments when people left. John 6 describes many of his disciples turning back and no longer following him. Jesus didn't chase them down and change the message. He didn't ask, what do I need to do to get the numbers back? He remained faithful. That's challenging to me because I want to become the kind of person who's faithful when someone is growing and equally faithful when nobody seems to care. But maybe that's one of the tests of a calling, right? Maybe would I still obey if obedience never made me impressive? I think about David before anyone knew his name, before Goliath, before the palace, before the crown. He was in a field watching sheep. Nobody was applauding. Nobody thought, there goes the future king. He was just doing his responsibility that was in front of him. And apparently, the hidden season mattered because character was being built before the platform arrived. We tend to want the platform first. Then we'll become disciplined. Then we'll become faithful. Then we'll take the work seriously. But maybe God often works in the opposite order: hidden faithfulness first, responsibility first, and character first. And maybe recognition comes later. Maybe it never does. Either way, The faithfulness still matters. And I've started thinking about how much of a meaningful life happens where nobody sees it. Nobody applauds you for being patient with your child for the thousandth time. Nobody gives you an award for staying faithful to your spouse. Nobody sees every temptation that you quietly resist. Nobody knows every time that you choose not to gossip. Nobody sees the money that you could have spent but quietly gave away. Nobody knows about every prayer whispered alone. Nobody sees the small decisions that build character, but God does. And maybe that has to become enough. That's difficult because being seen by God doesn't always produce immediate feedback. There's no notification, no number, no applause, just a quiet knowledge he saw. Jesus said that even a cup of cold water given in his name wouldn't lose the reward. Think about how small that is. A cup of water, not a movement, not a platform, not something that anyone writes a biography about, just a small act of love, and God notices. Maybe heaven measures significance differently than we do. We measure reach, God sees faithfulness. We measure applause, God sees motive. We measure how many people noticed, but God sees what happened when no one did. So that makes me want to pay more attention to my motives because sometimes I can do the right thing for the wrong reason. I can serve someone while secretly hoping they'll think higher of me. I can give while hoping someone notices my generosity. I can talk about God while quietly wanting people to admire me. And that's uncomfortable to admit. But I think honesty is healthier than pretending we're above it. The human heart can turn almost anything into self promotion, even humility, even generosity, even faith. So I've started asking God, why am I doing this? Not obsessively. I don't think that we need to analyze every good deed until we're paralyzed. Our motives are probably mixed more often than we'd like to admit. But I want God to keep purifying them. I want to I want to get to a place where I can genuinely say, if nobody knows, that's okay. If helping someone and they never thank me, that's okay. If I create something meaningful and 10 people see it, that's okay. If I spend years faithfully loving my family and nobody outside my home understands what that requires, that's okay. And if I obey God and the decision makes me look foolish, that's okay. Because the goal was never to be seen, the goal was to be faithful. And strangely, I think there's tremendous freedom in becoming less concerned with being noticed. You can stop performing, you can stop trying to make every good thing visible. You can have moments that belong only to you, the people you love, and God. You can give anonymously, you can serve quietly, and you can let someone else receive the credit. There's nothing wrong in that. And in fact, it's humble. You can do something beautiful and you can resist the urge to tell everybody that you did it. There's something peaceful about that, almost like you're reclaiming a part of life from the audience. And I think we need that. We need parts of our life to be sacred because not everything sacred needs spectators. Some things become more meaningful because no one else was there. A prayer, a conversation with your child, an act of generosity, a moment with your spouse, a decision between you and God. Maybe part of your spiritual maturity is learning that being known by everyone isn't nearly as important as being known by God. And He already sees everything, the public things, the private things, the impressive things, the ordinary, everyday moments. He sees the work that nobody thanks you for. He sees the obedience that nobody understands. He sees the battle that you didn't tell anybody about. He sees the good that you did when there was absolutely nothing in it for you. And if I'm living for Him, then maybe His eyes are the only audience that I actually need. So there's a question I'm asking myself. Would I still do it if nobody knew? If the answer is no, maybe I need to examine why I'm doing it. But if the answer is yes, then do it. Even if nobody applauds, even if nobody posts about it, even if nobody knows. Love your family. Keep your word. Serve the person. Give quietly. Do excellent work. Tell the truth. Pray. Obey. Be faithful. Because someday A lot of the things people applauded will be forgotten, but nothing done faithfully before God will ever be unseen. And maybe one of the greatest freedoms we can experience is finally realizing we never needed the whole world watching in the first place. And I know that's a hard truth, but hey, I just appreciate y'all for being here and listening to what we have to say. But either way, I appreciate y'all. And until the next one, peace.